sure. Welcome back, everybody, to our second series of the day for the inaugural day of G1 League action. We're in the group stages, and it's the brand new DK. At least got a bit of a facelift with 357 and Die joining their ranks. Those two will be playing most likely the support roles for this team. Burning, of course, the captain, still playing that hard carry. Meanwhile, face off against Orange, who not playing with Winner, not playing with KYXY. It's actually going to be Ice, 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 as well as Ice. Yes, they are two separate players. But together they will be filling out this Orange roster. GoDz, for me, this is one of the most exciting matches of the entire group stages. I mean, there's lots of other great matches. IG versus LGD is, the two top Chinese dogs right now. But this new DK roster, and Orange having such a famous player like Ice Ice Ice, how is he going to fit in, and how's the new DK roster going to mesh?
I don't know. I mean, this is something I'm really excited to see. And like you say, one of the most highlighted matches of this series, probably one of the closest matchups, especially because we're playing at the start where DK are adjusting to some new roles here. And then put on top of that, the star power in this game is absolutely phenomenal. And I mean, who doesn't want to see X Die playing? I mean, sure, he's sort of switched over that support role, but he's been playing it to his fantastic ability over there. It's just really been good. He helped eHome get into the top 8, or I believe top 6 at TI2. And that was an eHome who weren't really looking all too strong. But now with this DK team, with Burning on his side, I feel like they can easily compete with IG, compete with LGD, compete with the best of the best.
We're going to find out soon. Profit first pick from Orange. It's a hero they do enjoy running. And maybe it'll be Ice 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 handling that in the off lane. Not sure how they'll play it, but interesting that they value it this heavily. Doesn't really do much for your lanes. It's much more about the ganks and sort of... The lane he's in is not going to be strong, but it's the other lanes that benefit from this pick, potentially. But a first pick Profit, this is... It's not something we've really seen. It's sort of something we saw a while back, but immediately the Tiny Wisp, DK, are going to punish this. And I think it's going to be a burning Tiny. I don't know if I've ever seen this before.
I've not. I'm amazed they've actually gone for this. I mean, this is something out of eHome's book, and just right off the bat as well, they don't even hesitate. I guess they've maybe done some studying against Orange and figured this is a kind of picks and play style which works in Orange. And I think you need to have the mobility that the relocation offers. I mean, a hero like Tiny to take you into the late game and really shut down a team like Orange. I mean, this is going to force Orange maybe to go into an offensive tri lane, do something a bit different. I don't know what you go to against this. I mean, you mentioned last game Disruptor is sort of a semi-counter or some way of dealing with the Wisp Tiny, but I don't think it really fits Orange here. Having that with the Nature's Prophet, they haven't got enough DPS. They've got weird laning. I mean, Orange, I mean, this is going to be something which they're going to have to really rack their brains, and I don't think they were expecting this by any means right from the first two picks.
I love it. I love it because it's different as well from DK. It's not something you're accustomed to. I like the response, though, getting this DK. I feel whenever you pick Profit, you run the risk of not having a hero that can really clash and be like that frontline engagement hero. He doesn't have any innate disables, unless you want to count Sprout, which really isn't much, let's be honest. No stuns, he's squishy. But getting CK Lina a very powerful dual lane, they can look to dominate that mid lane. Maybe they do give Tiny free farm, maybe they do give that away to Burning, but if they run two pairs of strong dual lanes, that can help compensate. So we'll see. It could be a solo mid Profit, it could be a jungle Profit. It could be a tri-lane CK Lina, but I like this combo, this pickup, giving them the burst damage and giving them what they really need, which is strong lanes to try and get something good before Tiny Wisp get rolling.
Yeah, I think definitely that's a really strong option you mentioned. Run two strong dual lanes, so you can. If Orange, I mean, if they're expecting Wisp Tiny to be a tri-lane or the Wisp Tiny with a jungle hero, they know that the solo mid and the side lane solo can both be punished by strong dual lanes. You get the CK Lina, you get another strong dual lane maybe for the top lane, and then you can win two of the three lanes and then deal with the Tiny bit later on. Alternatively, they look to maybe go offensive tri-lane with the CK Lina and just not allow Tiny to get any farm at all. Then they have to rely on the sort of the two solo matchups. You'll have a 1v1 in the safe lane for Orange as well in the mid lane. Those lanes have to do well for them, which is, I mean, something where they've got the solo players to do that. They've got Yamata, they've got Mushi. So I think both ways work for Orange here. It's going to come down to what DK want to do, how they try and counteract that.
It's so early to pick up Tiny Wisp. I mean, it really is. And this looks to be Super Zero, probably. That solo mid invoker for him. Guessing that's going to be the way they lane it. The one thing I'll say about DK's picks is their laning options are rather limited. I mean, you start with Tiny Wisp. It pretty much just has to go to the safe lane. Wisp is not a strong laning support. Tiny, decent at getting kills, but not at the early levels. Much more so once he gets a 5-6. And once the Wisp has some levels, has the orbs leveled up, has the tether leveled up, ideally has her boots So their laning options are limited, and we'll have to see, can Orange punish this? Can they take advantage of the fact that they pretty much know how DK are going to lane? Or is DK just going to say, okay, here's what we're going to do, and then just execute so well that Orange can't shut it down?
Well, yeah, I think that's. I mean, when you pick Wisp Tiny that early on, you really have to execute well. I mean, they've revealed. I mean, you can't really go offensive trialing with a Wisp, I feel, unless you have
Right, I
something
agree.
a bit stronger than a Tiny. I think Tiny isn't a good offensive trialing hero. He
Mm-hmm.
needs that safe lane or the mid lane as a solo, but he doesn't go well in offensive tri lane. Maybe with something other than a Wisp, but both those heroes don't offer much. They both need a few levels or safe farms. So this is. I mean, yeah, they basically revealed their entire hand. Invoker almost definitely has to go towards that mid lane. And that basically leaves Orange. They just ban out some of those side lane solo heroes, maybe ban out junglers. I don't think they're worried about DK picking up Chen or Enchantress or an Enigma jungle because that just gives DK even weaker lanes. And that's what Orange want them to have, weak lanes that Orange can punish. So they'll probably leave those jungle heroes, ban the strong side laners, which we're seeing them do, banning out Bounty Hunter, Lone Druid. Also, Lone Druid, a hero can offer a bit more sort of semi-carry potential for them. So the smart ban there as well, if Tiny's not going to get the farm he needs to carry to the late game, because Invoker's not going to offer a huge amount of damage. So what do DK want to go into? I mean, with Brood being banned out by themselves, that's another potential side laner with some carry potential being banned out. And the options for DK are running short for that long lane hero. Maybe we're looking at the Windrunner that we saw YYF play back in the series against MUFC.
There is a Beastmaster. There is a Tide Hunter. Those are probably two of the more likely offlane hero picks. Not strong offlane heroes. They can do some ancient stacking on the Beastmaster's part. Tide can kind of deal with support harass with Anchor Smash, but at the same time, they're not. It's not like a Windrunner or something that's really powerful, going to be able to harass a lot. And Orange already have two heroes that can kill pretty much any solo in the offlane. So maybe they'll even abandon it and run a jungler, just sort of give up that lane, maybe do a bunch of pulling top. So far, Orange don't have a hero that if you let him free farm, is just going to absolutely murder Tiny late game or shut you down for sure. So I guess that's another option. Kind of give the lane away and don't run an offlaner. But sacrificing a full lane is a lot. So we'll see. Windrunner, Beastmaster, Tidehunter. Like you said, they're banning all of the strong offlaners. The Lone Druid first because he can do that pulling, and now the Tide gets the ban. So there's a few options left. But like you said, it's a dwindling pool to say the least.
Yeah, it's dwindling for them, but I think DK have done some smart bans here, especially the Queen of Pain. Mushi played a ridiculously farmed and late game Queen of Pain against an anti-mage of all heroes. He managed to outcarry an anti-mage with a Queen of Pain when they versed Flash Esports. So it's something which banning out is great against Orange, and it's a hero they like to use. Maybe we'll see them opting more for the Windrunner, a hero that both Yamato and Mushi play as well as sort of a semi-carry late game option. I mean, with Nature's Prophet, CK, and Windrunner, they don't really need much more late game. They've got two heroes, the Nature's Prophet and Windrunner, who can sort of kite the Tiny around. You don't want to get the melee carries against Tiny. They just sort of kind of get ripped apart. So Orange here, I mean, they've got options. If they really want, they can still go into an anti-mage. I mean, they don't want anti-mage fighting directly against the Tiny, but he's just a faster farmer. He can split push around the map, and he's not going to be all that easy to kill at the moment with DK's current heroes. They need a bit more lockdown to do that. So I feel Orange here, they go either for something like a Windrunner, or maybe they go for the really late game anti-mage.
Yeah, you know, the downside to running... Orange love the Queen of Pain, the Windrunner, heroes like that, the strong sort of semi-carry, mid-game, but can scale decently to the late game, intelligence heroes, the lane controllers. Running that against Tiny Wisp, though, once you get to the mid-game, you might die even with full health, even if you have a Force Staff. They jump in, the Tether Stun, the Avalanche Toss combo, and the Orb damage. It's enough to bring down even a strong laning hero like that. But it's something we've seen a lot from Orange. You can tell that it's sort of a difficult position there, and they really want to make sure this next pick is correct. And of course, the offensive tri-lane definitely still an option for them. Once you start with CK Lina, really anything that has a stun or a slow could work nicely here.
Especially, I mean, and then they know Nature's Prophet is most likely going to be in a 1v1 matchup at the top lane. We've seen like LGD, Zhao Wei, play that Nature's Prophet in the safe lane in a 1v1 matchup and just win that lane against heroes like Windrunners, Bounty Hunters, and just get that super fast mech. And if they get a super fast mech on a safe lane Nature's Prophet, bring him to the trail lane to start pushing, take the battle to DK, they can really cause some problems, and it looks like they will do that. Shadow Demon, this to me looks like offensive trailing. Shadow Demon, Lina, Chaos Knight, they're not going to run that in the safe lane against a solo hero. It just doesn't make sense to pick such a strong trail lane as this if you're not going to run it offensively. So I think this is Nature's Prophet in the safe lane. DK know that though, or at least expect that, so they can get a hero to go into that top lane that normally wouldn't. They could even send Invoker top. They can put Invoker against Nature's Prophet. They can use this information to their advantage when they pick their last couple of heroes here, their offlane solo. They don't have to worry about him getting XP against the tri-lane. They know it's almost definitely a solo hero, whether it's the Nature's Prophet or this last pick. But DK have to now prepare. How do they deal with this offensive tri-lane? They need a defensive support hero. Maybe they go for something like the Jakiro, Ice Path, one of those spells, which may be what they need against this tri-lane.
And it really can win your tri-lane. If you hit an Ice Path on 2-3 heroes at the right... There you go, you called it. It's the Jakiro. And I like this pick a lot. I mean, Earthshaker was another similar option, but Jakiro gives you a lot more harassment potential. And also he can spam that Ice Path way more than Fissure. So it's sort of the modern Earthshaker in some ways, and a little bit more of a less farm dependent, a little bit stronger in the lane kind of hero. And if you hit, you don't have to worry about hitting a bad Fissure and catching your Tiny in the wrong position. I like this pick a lot.
Ice Path's so much more spammable, and not to mention Macropie. I just feel Macropie now with the 7-second duration, it's such a better skill than Echo Slam. I mean, Echo Slam is kind of talked out to be this amazing ultimate, but it's actually a pretty crappy ultimate in my opinion. It's so hard to ever land until you get a Blink Dagger, and even when you get it, I mean, you get if you get the perfect combo, but teams just see it coming and expect it. So we'll see now the Jakiro pick, and something LD is happy about. We've got a Shadow Fiend. Is this a Yamata Shadow Fiend? One of the famous, almost all-time best Shadow Fiend players, maybe second only to Yaffets. Maybe a Mushi Shadow Fiend, but either way, this is going to be something fun and exciting. I think Ice will play the safe lane Nature's Prophet. We'll see Mushi and Yamata playing the CK and the Shadow Fiend. I think this is a Yamata Shadow Fiend.
Yeah, it feels like it is, and that feels pretty good. I mean, you mentioned a ranged hero. This is the one. He's very squishy, but if he's getting a lot of farm, which he probably will in the early to mid game, a quick BKB, suddenly Tiny's not as scary. I mean, yes, his physical late game damage is crazy, and how did this hero slip through this late in this version? Batrider might be the strongest solo in the game. He destroys Templar Assassin. He's great against Invoker. Even heroes like Queen of Pain and Windrunner can have difficulty. This pick...
This is going to be so good against Nature's Prophet as well. This will be a side lane against the Nature's Prophet. Batrider can potentially destroy that lane.
I mean, who else could even go there? Shadow Fiend can't really lane. He can't lane against Batrider, so
yeah,
the options are limited. This is... honestly, I'm shocked this hero slipped through this late into the draft. It's been first ban, first pick material in Star Ladder, and, we saw in the last series it was banned first banned by IG, I think, both games.
Yeah, it's a hero which is going to see quite a lot of play, I think, in the near future. And like you say, bans, early first picks, and we'll see how the teams adjust with that in mind, as it is going to be very hard for Orange to versus Batrider, I think. And I think that's a hero that just somewhat slipped their mind.
Maybe it's one of these things where once in a while there's so many heroes to think about that you forget about the Batrider, you forget about the Nature's Prophet who's still slipping through the pool because nobody's banning him nowadays, and we'll see if it works. But on paper, it feels like a very strong counter to a lot of what Orange is trying to do. Great initiation, strong in the laning phase, and if Batrider and Tiny get rolling, nowhere will be safe. It's sort of what we saw last game with the Night Stalker and the Bounty Hunter. I mean, having Relocate, having these strong, powerful tower diving kind of heroes, that's how you deal with the Prophet. That's how you deal with the Shadow Fiend. Gank them and don't let them get rolling. But what Orange really have going in their favor is a tri-lane backed up by a Prophet, and a very powerful killing tri-lane at that. Disruption into a Light Strike Array, into the Chaos Bolt. I mean, so many ways to initiate, and so much burst damage. Both teams have their strengths. It needs to be said. It's not like one team clearly got outpicked, but this Batrider, kind of surprised he slipped all the way through.
Yeah, and it's interesting to see both teams really sort of playing to the new version. I mean, you mentioned earlier on, DK Burning, has he ever played a Tiny that you can remember? I don't think they used the hero at all during this national. DK's been scrimming a lot over the past few weeks, and I mentioned Super in the mid lane, so maybe they've been trying out some new strategies. Maybe this Tiny is something they have sort of been working around, especially bringing in two of those eHome players, eHome who ran the Wisp Tiny to perfection at the International and carried them a long way. And they even said it themselves, they couldn't compete with the best teams except when they used Wisp and Tiny. So Orange, I mean, they've got their work cut out. It'll be interesting to see if they still go with the offensive tri-lane based on the Batrider pick, because their safe lane solo is going to really struggle against Batrider, but it looks like they still want to do it. They've got multiple heroes heading towards the top lane.
And DK, most likely anticipating this offensive tri-lane, want to defend their own jungle if you can force an offensive tri-lane into playing in the dark, they really won't be very effective. Let's introduce the players real quickly. Super on the Invoker, Quas Wex most likely coming out for him, and the Phase Boots Rush as well. RTK on the Batrider, expect him to be going into the off lane. QQQ or 357, the new addition from eHome, going to be playing that support Shakiro. Dai or MMY, legendary Chinese player from eHome. Back in the day, used to play solo mid. Nowadays, he plays a fantastic support. And finally, it's a burning Quelling Blade first, Tiny. And here comes the clash, potentially. Orange grouped up, waiting. But already the wards are coming out for DK, trying to get some vision, trying to make sure Orange can't pull a fast one on them.
Yeah, I mean, Orange, they don't... It looks like they're not going to look to sort of force a fight at this top lane. They're expecting 5 heroes there, and sure, they maybe have a strong level 1 fight with the Shadow Demon, Lina CK, but they'll be fighting sort of into fog. They immediately de-ward this high ground here.
Great.
Oh, that's a really smart decision there. They knew the ward was put down there by the Wisp. I think the Nature's Prophet Treant scouted out, and this is going to make this a lot harder for DK without that ward there. Where do they put this other ward here? It looks like Wisp is going to put it around this mid lane. Yeah, okay, he gets it near the top river there. If that got seen, though, it could easily be de-warded right away. It looks like the ward didn't see the Wisp put it down, and here we go. CK, Lina, Shadow Demon going to go into the enemy jungle, look for some early kills, look for some early aggression, force these heroes as far back as possible.
You know, it's even these little things. Like, now they can immediately block off the small camp. Because they were able to get rid of this ward, they're safe to walk up the hill. So these small little touches, they can have big repercussions. You've talked about it in the past many a time. One of the best ways to deal with an offensive tri-lane, just pull a lot and then deny them experience, prevent them from having opportunities to get aggressive, force them to tower dive if they want to. But with these camps warded off, and just the vision they have, pulling is not going to be available, at least not for that camp.
Yeah, it's not going to be something...
Does this block the pull?
It can't. I'm pretty sure it doesn't. If it does, this is... I don't know. I feel like it does. I think they were looking for an early kill from the low ground with that ward. They put it up there and were maybe looking for to see if they could get an initiation from the low ground, but I'm pretty sure it should not block the pull. It looks like Lina is just manually blocking the pull for now.
Oh, that's what it is. Yeah, I was thinking, and that's really cheeky because now there's a sentry ward from the Dire. 357 was trying to de-ward, but there's actually nothing to de-ward, and the other nice thing about putting this ward here is it's not really where you expect a ward to be because, like you said, it probably doesn't block the camp. So they get to keep that vision up. They'll see any sort of rotation. And mid lane, we'll just quickly take a look at these side lanes. It's Yamate's Shadow Fiend up against Super's Invoker. So far, Super having the high ground, but Yamate's really starting to get some farm going. Already sitting at 4 and 2. I mean, 6 souls for him. That's plus 12 damage. And up against a Quas Wex Invoker, he doesn't have much damage, so Yamate even having a decent start, he's going to pretty much get free farm, I feel. And look at the aggression, throwing those level 2 raises out.
This is, I mean, it's an interesting lane. Sure, he's done well to start off with, which is what you need, but he's going to be put under a lot of pressure by the cold snap stand. That one actually not doing anything, but this is, I mean, the tri-lane versus tri-lane tops where the aggression is going to be coming, but this mid lane, Super versus Yamato, what a matchup here. Two amazing solo mid players, and Super getting forced onto such low HP by the harass and lane control of Yamato. Yamato so far is dominating it.
Oh, die! This is going to be our first blood, instantly brought down, and we talked about it. This is how you want to try and deal with that tiny Wisp, is just kill them in the lane, be aggressive, punish that Wisp's 0 base armor, her lack of lane control early on, and winning that top lane, free farm for the CK 10 and 7, and mid lane going very well for Yamate. So now we have to turn our attention to the bottom lane where it's a Batrider being played by RTK up against Ice the stand-in. But Ice is farming pretty well here, 9 and 2, and so far he's using the treants, it looks like, to harass and kind of keep the Batrider back and avoiding most of the sticky napalm charges. None on him at the moment. All the lanes going quite well for Orange so far.
I think the early levels Nature's Prophet can do okay. It can actually stay on par with the Batrider with some smart treant micro. You can harass him with the treants to force him back. You help use the treants to outlast hit him. So, I mean, for now, yeah, like you say, Orange winning all 3 lanes, at least to some extent. Shadow Fiend is probably the main surprise there. I think with the Invoker nerfs to Invoker's base damage, it makes it a lot harder to take this matchup in a 1v1. In the past, Invoker just won this 1v1 matchup because he had better base damage. You could just go Quas Wex, use the Cold Snap to just basically prevent Shadow Fiend from getting any early last hits, but it's not the same story. Shadow Fiend can contest those early game last hits. He's actually got better base damage than the Invoker, and we're seeing it here. Invoker not having the best time. He's picked up 2 very early blades of attack to try keep himself in being able to last hit and compete with the Shadow Fiend, but he's already on such low HP. This is going to be a troublesome lane for him. Yamato's got plenty of HP, and that's with a bottle arriving as well. So he's going to have razors to spam, and he's going to be looking to just control the runes and keep Invoker as far pushed back as possible.
And because they have this Prophet, and there's a tri-lane top, DK really can't leave to check the runes. Maybe Batrider can, but that's it. If either of the supports try to journey towards that top rune, first of all, they're going to be spotted by about 5 billion wards. And then secondly, that's when Orange dives the tower. That's when they find kills. So Yamate having the better pushing hero, having a good start, and having the bottle, Invoker's never been a strong rune controller. In fact, usually you'll see Invokers just give up the runes. But now in this game, Orange can really take those over, and that's going to help out Shadowfiend a lot. If he gets a good rune, maybe a haste or an invis, he could even journey top and look for some early kills.
Yeah, I feel DK, their supports are going to have to maybe do some work controlling the runes. I mean, it's going to make this top lane suffer, but maybe Wisp every couple of minutes has to go and make sure that Shadowfiend doesn't get the rune if it spawns top. It does come at the cost of leaving the 2 heroes at top very vulnerable, though. That's kind of the trade-off here, and what we may have to see happening, because if Shadowfiend gets these runes, it's trouble.
I love this from Instinct. Just dropping a Light Strike Array. If it hits, they go in. If not, well, no big deal. You still got a Clarity Potion. Just constantly keeping the threat of aggression in the back of DK's heads.
And look at this. He's blocking the pull at top again. Every minute, he's there blocking this pull.
Who needs wards?
Extinct. This is mind games going on. They've even got the Sentry Wards there. I think DK just recognized, well, something's going on. I don't know what, but our Sentry Ward didn't work. Let's just not waste our time dewarding it, cutting through the trees, looking for the Observer Ward. And this has just been an incredible decision coming out from Extinct on that support Lina. I think the ward was initially actually planted by the Shadow Demon of Ice, but the support play from Orange so far has been amazing. And Yamata, he gets the rune he needed. It's a double damage rune, and that's going to refill his bottle. It's going to put more pressure on Super at this mid lane. Super's got his second point in Quas now, so he's going to heal up a lot of this damage that Shadowfiend's inflicting on him. And whenever Shadowfiend does go to get a rune, he does sort of miss out on a bit of XP. But mid lane, I mean, this may force some of these supports to come and try gank him. This may force some movement from DK, but they haven't really got the most mobile supports, the supports that can really gank any of these lanes at all.
You know, here's the other thing. We have a Prophet who's winning his lane for now against Batrider. And even though, like you said, eventually it gets really hard for him, he doesn't have to sit in this lane. He's not far off of level 6. And if the tri-lane already wasn't bad enough, imagine once Prophet's got his ult, he's already got 2 points to teleport in the trance, you get a kill, then you knocked out a tower, Prophet maybe as an Urn or a Midas, and they can just keep on going, keep the aggression flowing. This is it's a very tenuous position for DK. They have a lineup that can turn things around, they have a lineup that can fall behind early and come back, but everything is going well for Orange. If you start to fall behind in these kinds of aggressive heroes, the pushers, the gankers, you lose map control, and all of a sudden you're potentially terrifying late game burning Tiny. Never has a chance to get going. So, I mean, the fact that we haven't even seen Prophet enter the tri-lane makes me quite a bit worried for DK.
Yeah, I mean, DK, I mean, the Wisp Tiny, sure, it's a great combo in the mid to late game, but how's it going to get any farm and any momentum sort of going their way? They just don't have the lanes in early game to make that happen, and they can't really shut down the Shadowfiend. One of the things we saw last game when MUFC picked up Shadowfiend, sure, they gave Shadowfiend the early
bottom
farm,
lane.
and he was dominating that lane. Oh, this is not what you want to be doing if you're ROTK. He's going to be okay here. He
forced the TP? Oh, this is bad! He's trapped! He's a bit trapped! This might even be a turnaround, but there's only one napalm stack, now there's 2. Creates more trans, trying to walk away from this. Oh, is he gonna get the kill? He's so low! RTK wants to go! He baited him in! God. Beautiful bait from RTK! Gods, when he went in, I don't know if you caught the beginning of that, he had about 100 health! He was tanking the trance without a stout shield, but he baited that TP and then really stole a kill he had no business collecting.
That was insane play. I only caught like the second half of that, and that was just some great baiting by him. Ice, I mean, he is a very, cocky player in some ways. He loves to be aggressive, and you can see there, ROTK using that against him, and that's something you can't afford to have happen if you're Orange. I mean, sure, you aren't expecting the Prophet to beat the Batrider, but you don't want him giving up kills like that. You want Prophet just sitting back, getting some farm, and then looking to maybe come gank and push the top lane. Look for a gank even on the Invoker at mid lane. Shadowfiend's had such a good start that maybe he can sort of start getting some kills here on this Invoker with these level 3 raises.
Oh, look at Extinct. He wants to Light Strike Array from behind the tree line, but not quite able to find it. Not going to opt to go in just yet. Super, like you said, that Quas really helping him out. He's actually gone for 3 points, and I like this decision. Because he needs to be able to deal with this lane, although top, huge action breaking out, burning, dropping low, pulled back in, and will go down first with the Soul Catcher on him. Q, being a tanky little dragon, but not quite enough in the end. So another kill, this one onto Burning, and the supports, at least they live, but Orange may go in for round 2. They want a little more aggression. Not quite able to fight it. ROTK running for his life?
The top lane so well.
Oh
my
no!
God.
Sniped off by Ice from the fountain. Beautiful play.
Yeah, Ice wins that round. This is a really interesting duel. I mean, all 3 lanes, I feel like this is one of those games where you're casting, you can only watch one of the lanes at a time, but every lane has had something interesting constantly happening in it.
Oh.
And top lane, X is once again looking for another stun from these trees. He's trying to find the opening. They've been so good, Orange, in this trial and just splitting themselves up. Like, they went in with that last kill on Burning. They went in with the disruption. Lina and the CK split up, so Ice Path was only ever going to hit one of them. If it hits both, Burning lives. But the fact it only hits one means either you stun the CK with it, Lina gets a light rail. If you stun Lina, it's CK who gets a stun. So either way, they get the kill because of the great positioning from Orange in that trial lane. And so far, it's looking really good for them.
And that's the nice thing about this tri-lane, is you have multiple ways to initiate, you've got plenty of burst damage, you've got multiple stuns, so no, it's not one hero who has to start the fight. It doesn't have to be the Shadow Demon, it doesn't have to be the CK. They can be flexible, and even Lina can look to start it, like tangoing through the trees. I mean, even when she's not finding the kills, as they go in again onto Burning, 3-second stun, and look at the Soul Catcher always connecting on him, securing an easy kill. In comes Ice. They want more. They want MMY. No tether available. He should drop. This might be 3 heroes dead. This is Prophet ganking a tri-lane that was already losing, and that's a triple kill for the team on this lane, and even Extinct gonna live. Disaster in the top lane. Now the tower's starting to fall, and remember, Yamate's winning mid. The only thing that's going decently right now for DK is this Bat Rider, but he did give up a kill after getting one, so it's not like he's even had a clear victory.
Yeah, it's the strength of the Orange line with the aggressive trial and Nature's Prophet. I mean, they can just turn that top lane on its heels in a matter of seconds. I mean, they get the first kill even without the Nature's Prophet. The Nature's Prophet is just there to ensure the cleanup. The 2 supports go down as well, and I mean, DK with the very early Wisp Tiny Pick, it left them open to this kind of a strategy from Orange, and Orange are playing it well. I mean, this is going to be really hard for DK to get back into as well. I mean, they're not going to find much space for Tiny to farm. It's not as if, okay, they get a tower, they get some kills here, they'll back off and we can get Tiny some farm. No, this is Tiny 0-2 with no room. They just keep this trio of heroes at top. Nature's Prophet can get some farm at bottom, but will be ready to TP back top in an instant. Even just popping an ultimate can ensure that they get kills at this top lane. And it's going to come down to the Invoker of Super, maybe to rotate towards top, provide some space for his team. Super now hits level 7, so we'll be picking up Tornado, I imagine. And this is maybe what DK need. The rotation is coming.
But when the rotation comes in, of course, that frees up Yamate not only to farm the lane, but with another DD rune, can quickly claim a tower. Shadow Fiend is a very strong pushing hero. If you leave him alone, a wave dies in 2 nukes, and the tower takes tons of damage coming out from his Necromastery, getting that bonus. What is it now, even? It's up to plus 72, I believe, when Necromastery is max. Look at him sitting at 182 damage with the DD rune and the haste. This could be so bad if he finds anyone, and he might dive this tower. He wants to go in. He's going to look to juke a stun. Avalanche just catching him. Ice Path gets cast, then canceled again. There's going to be another raise. There's your raise. Missing on the Ice Path wouldn't have mattered. He was dead for sure anyway. Meanwhile, the Invoker's joined the fight, but easy food, except for the Tornado. Removing the DD rune, Lina picks off the Bat Rider. Now Super, one raise through the trees. Not quite able to get it, but when even Shadow Fiend is ganking like this, that's where you have to feel very nervous about your chances in this game. Just a hero that normally doesn't gank this early, but it's great. It's working out.
If he finds a good rune like he does there with a haste, I mean, level 4 raises, you've got 3 of them. That's a lot of damage. Everyone doing 300 damage. You can insta-kill these supports, Lanio. He didn't even need them because of his pure right-click damage and the Nature's Prophet ultimate. He gets himself a kill and a tower. I mean, they don't get the second kill in the Invoker. They only get 1 kill, and committing 5 heroes, but that's easily worth it for them. Getting complete map control at this point. They get the ward on the high ground as well, and DK, they're forced to send Tiny bottom to try to get some farm, but he's not going to be left there uncontested farming for long, because Orange, with both towers taken at top, don't have much need to say. They're going to look to maybe push the mid towers, push the bottom towers very soon here. They'll start swinging this tri lane elsewhere, and DK, I mean, they're on the back foot for sure at this point.
They have rotated Burning out of the lane. They're kind of just forfeiting this top lane. You'll notice that Orange is not relenting on the pressure, the aggressive wards in the enemy jungle, giving them tons of vision, making sure there won't be any pulling, there won't be any sort of kind of stealing farm, squeezing it out of these places where you shouldn't be able to. Now that they've secured that top lane, they'll leave Mushi there to farm. The Vitality Booster picked up on him, and now they're going to rotate mid, start pressuring this lane. DK trying to respond, trying to push out that bottom lane, but Tiny not really the best pusher at this point. Can't spam his nukes too much, doesn't really hit that hard without items. And look at how far back Super is driven. Driven all the way to his own Ancients just by a creep wave. The tower easily claimed. Yamate up to 3k gold. Whatever he wants to build, he's almost got it.
Maybe even a Lothar.
Yeah, I would
say
like that.
Lothars or Blink. You go aggressive. You don't go for the BKB. I don't think he needs BKB yet. There's no point rushing the BKB. He may just do that. It's a great item. You want to get it eventually, but I feel either Lothars or Blink Dagger just right off the bat is going to be the way to go. You can be more aggressive with these items. Blink Dagger will get him more kills. Lothars can maybe set up some kills as well as give him big damage, attack speed. The new Lothars gives more attack speed, so it's actually giving you more DPS. It makes it a really nice item, so it'll be interesting to see what he gets with all this gold.
I mean, 30 damage, 30 attack speed, and that ability to go invis. And Ice Path gonna only connect on Extinct. Will this be enough to follow up? Tornado coming through, barely missing. Wex is only level 2, I believe, but in comes the Batrider, pulling Ice back. Ice surviving, the Prophet mech healing him up. Burning throws him back into the fray. This could be an overextension, all set up by the ward on the high ground in their own jungle. That should be 2 kills, but look how tanky this Prophet is. Finally gonna die, barely at that. Mushi joined this fight, but he's got 8 long charges. Now needs to get out of here. Bernie with the avalanche. Wants to get another kill. This could be 3 heroes dead. Running back into the ice path. Taking tons of damage. Toss as well. Not taking enough to live in an overextension. And GoDz, it all started with this ward we see here just on the edge of the cliff. In fact, they were trying to de-ward as that fight broke out.
Yeah, that's kind of what DK were waiting for. They just had to sit back and wait for an overextension, wait for a mistake. It came and they really punished it. I mean, Shadow Fiend had no way of coming to that fight. He was sitting at bottom lane, and even, I mean, Orange were just sort of split up and not in the best position to take that, and Batrider did capitalize on the opening presented, takes out Shadow Demon, and from there, I think Ice once again. I mean, just getting a bit too sort of, a bit too over. It wasn't being overly aggressive, but just a bit too out of position. That he thought he could maybe go in and save the Shadow Demon with the mech, but then you have that snowball effect. He goes in and dies, and as a result, Mushi goes in and dies. When what should have happened is they just let Shadow Demon to die, cut their losses, let Shadow Demon go down, and have no one else fall. But
right.
Ice going in there to follow it up, and then Mushi following it up, just was a bit of a mistake.
And maybe you lose Extinct there as well, if they're able to chase him down. But that's okay, you lose your 2 supports, your 3 farmers are fine, but now they lose 2 of the farmers. The one hero who has not been touched yet is this just disgustingly farmed Shadow Fiend. 6.3k net worth. Yamate has managed to accrue 600 gold per minute. Is that 530? 530 gold per minute for him. And doing it without a Midas, doing it without really too many kills. I mean, he's 0-0-1, he's got an assist to his name. He may have claimed a tower, but he just claimed one in fact. Got the bottom tier 1, it looks like. They've slowed down 2 of these strong farmers, but they're still Yamate to deal with. Sitting on an absolute just windfall of gold. 4k for him.
Yeah, this is going to be scary when he picks up his next big item and comes. I mean, he could get the BKB now. I mean, I don't think nothing's really a bad decision at this point as far as items go. I mean, when you're farming this well, any item is just going to keep your momentum going, keep the damage coming. But he just needs to spend it so he can take part in some more fights, continually be aggressive against this DK squad. And
yeah, he's up
BKB
against,
it is.
He's up against the Wisp who's going to hit 6 soon. And even though he's this farmed, I mean, he's got an Invis now, so he should be okay. But if he doesn't have a nice rune like that, he can actually die to a Wisp Tiny gank. Even when Tiny's only level 5 and Wisp is just hitting, or excuse me, only level 6 and not even have his nukes max, so I agree. I'd like to see him spend his gold to whatever he's getting. Here it comes. It is going to be the BKB. I'm a little disappointed. I kind of wanted the Shadow Blade, but this is certainly a fantastic choice. There is a Batrider though, so they have the lasso, but even just forcing him to use the lasso on you and not really taking any magical damage is kind of worth it anyway.
Yeah, they don't really have the right click to deal with him if he's got the BKB off. I mean, Tiny's doing next to nothing. Invoker, very little as well coming from him. Invoker, I mean, only level 8 at this point in the game is actually going to make it a lot harder for DK to fight than they'd like. I mean, you're looking at Shadow Fiend, who's level 10. If this is a level 10 Invoker, I mean, that's his Tornado EMP doing a lot more damage and a lot more in these fights, and maybe DK have a better chance, but as it is, just level 8 on him. He needs to keep on getting some solo XP, or at least, I mean, he's finding somewhere to get those extra points which he needs to defend with, and it's just not coming. So Orange, they're going to go for a split push. 3 at mid, 2 at bottom, and both towers sort of not really being defended all that much.
Yeah, you know, they have relocate now, so maybe this is a bait on the bottom lane. They're hoping for the relocate gank to come in, and then Yamate will be backed up by Mushi, but they're going to give up on the bait and just push directly. Ice 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 joins this. He did go back for a Raid of Basilius, which I believe is coming soon. The Sage's Mass picked up a very late Raid of Basilius, but when you want to be aggressive and push like this, it's totally worth it. It's such a cost-effective item. So to all the newer players out there, don't be surprised that he's picking up this item really late into the game at 13 minutes. It's totally worth it. Now the tower being sieged, Mushi zoning everyone back. Another outer tower falls, and they're now down to 1 tier 2, and it's quite low. They could lose all their outer towers by the 15-minute mark.
Yeah, I mean, this is really fast by Orange. This is very methodical by them, and that's kind of how they like to play. If they get that lead, they'll control the map. They'll get complete another map control, and
this is beautiful. Soul Rain on Wisp to set up that tiny. We normally see Urn, Arcane Boots is great, but the Soul Rain just very cheap, and it guarantees Burning always has mana. I love this.
It's a nice little pickup, and I mean, Wisp doesn't even have boots at this point, but he's getting it this fast, this early on to help out Burning. But the problem is, like you say, no towers up on the map very, very soon, and that's giving, I mean, more than anything, it's giving Orange a lot of gold to work with. They're going to have such an item advantage. Mushi's got his Vanguard, they've got the mech up, Bassi Ring up on Nature's Prophet, probably going to pick up some more items just to help tank up and give his team some better, stronger death ball. I mean, whether it's a Necrobook, maybe just some treads, maybe even something like a Vlad, just get some more auras going. I mean, right now, Orange, they're sort of building towards this. Shadow Fiend almost has enough gold for a Blink Dagger if that's what he wants to go for now with his BKB up as well.
Yeah, still no Blink on the Batrider, and that's a big concern. Sounds like you have a little bit of audio background noise. Not sure if you can... Some buzzing. Some buzzing now. God, you're killing me, man. You're killing me.
Excited. I broke my microphone.
Hopefully you can sort of get that sorted out, and it sounds like it's a little bit better now. They're going to go into Roche. They have Sentry Wards littering that middle lane, Observer Ward on the high ground here. And DK, just not even going to contest this. They obviously know it's happening, 5 heroes off the map, but really what can you do at this point? Better to farm, better to get some levels up, and in fact, Burning's going to go top. This may be the last creep wave he sees for quite some time, at least if Orange plays this correctly.
Yeah, and Yamata says, who needs a Blink Dagger? I just want to go full carry. He picks, I mean, it's Yasha. It's going to be a Manta style. He could go for Sanj and Yasha. I mean, it's a fairly cost-effective items in some ways, and Manta style with the added cost, maybe not as strong as it once was, but Shadow Fiend with an Aegis, I mean, this is going to be very hard for DK to take fights in the near future here. I mean, they got to get Tiny his Ag Scepter. They got to get him also some levels. He wants to have that at least level 2 ultimate. I mean, with the Tether and Ag's level 2 ultimate, maybe he can do some damage in these team fights, but he'll still get burst down. So will the Wisp. I mean, there's a lot of burst damage with the CK Lina. I mean, the Shadow Demon can set things out, can also keep heroes alive when DK initiates. So it's going to be an uphill battle for DK. They've just got to keep looking for those small pickoffs, I feel. I mean, with the Wisp ultimate, with a Batrider as well, especially if Batrider with a Blink now, I feel they can get a pick off, then back off and farm. That's kind of the style of play they have to do while defending the lanes as well as they can.
Well, I don't think you can gank into this, though, and perhaps that's the thought process from Orange. We've got our core items, we've got an Aegis. Let's just go win the game now. Why wait? So the IG style. Reality Rip to pull QQQ back in, and a 4-second stun, a beautiful EMP Tornado. But will it be enough? It doesn't look like it. They have no answer for Yamate. Requiem of Souls Shadow now diving onto MMY. Relocated in for this, will be heading back, I believe, the top momentarily. Prophet lassoed up, but back to full HP. Now the Erd onto Mushi, and the tower under siege. They only get the 1 kill off of a BKB charge, and as well as the mech is a lot of abilities used for that 1 kill, and Jakiro's back to life. This looks like a Rax defended for at least a tier 3 defended for the moment. And the thing is for Orange is if they get caught in a bad position, Yamate can be locked down now. There's no BKB. Here they come, high ground again, Mushi creating the illusions, Reality Rifting in super, but then Cold Snap, as well as the Ice Patch, just slowing him down, preventing him from doing anything in this fight. Now the Tornado re-invoked and prepared to go, connecting on everyone. What a defense by DK so far, not only losing the 1 hero, finally the Batrider going to drop to the poison damage. They've only lost 2 to this relentless aggression to a 12k gold deficit. I have to say, a great defense, but will it be enough? Orange is not backing off.
It's enough for now, but the problem is, I mean, they're slowly being chipped away at the towers below half HP, and Orange, well, they're healing up. They have a mech coming. Mech is back up. They'll have Ice 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 probably popping that. They need to pop it. They've gone in again, taking out Jakiro, and without the Jakiro dual breath and Ice Path, it's so much harder to defend. Orange now ready to go back in. They popped up the mech. They're just going to chip away slowly this time. Once this tower's down, it becomes a lot easier to just stay on that high ground and take this fight. EMP, once again, not landing for Super. They need those Tornado EMPs to prevent this push from happening. Orange are going to back off for now. They feel They've stayed there welcome long enough, and this is what I mean. You mentioned with IG, is this something we're going to see a lot more of? As soon as you get the Aegis, go and push, go for those tier 3 towers. Orange are doing it just here, much like IG did earlier on today.
Right, and again, it's one of these things where we haven't seen it as much from the European scene. Sure, we've seen teams push with the Aegis, but it's just so aggressive. Orange and IG, both of them, they get the Aegis and they just go. You have a slight advantage. Yeah. Why wait? Why risk anything? Just force the issue, because otherwise that Aegis does very little for you. Sure, you get the gold from killing Roshan, but you don't have that extra life. And right now, for DK, how do they claw back into this game? You can't really gank Shadow Fiend because not only does he have the Aegis, but he's also got a BKB. So if you relocate into him, he just pops the BKB and kills your Wisp. Maybe kills the Tiny as well. The supports just really, they have no vision to go after them, and Prophet's pretty tanky. He's also off the map. I don't know who they can kill at this point.
It's going to be a slow sort of poke their way back in the game. I think, like you say, it's got to be the supports. It's going to be hard to find them, hard to locate them. They're kind of approaching the Shadow Fiend at this top lane with 3 heroes here. I don't think they can really take him. BKB Manta style now picked up as well for Yamata. He's got 147 creep kills. We're just 19 minutes into the game.
Just look at his net worth.
You've got 6 towers on top of that. You've got I think he got the Roshan kill as well, apparently. Wow. Yeah, this is almost 12k net worth in just 19 minutes. Is GPM's over 600? I mean, you see GPM's getting up around the 800-900 mark, but not this early on very often. This is something insane from Yamata on Shadow Fiend.
Like you said, one of his signature heroes, pretty legendary Shadow Fiend player in the Southeast Asian scene, and it's one of the heroes that he's been able to take down the top Chinese teams with in the past. So I'm excited to see him play it. His net worth, I mean, it's not just how farmed he is, it's how behind the supports on DK are. 1.6k on the Wisp, barely breaking the 4-digit mark for this poor twin-headed dragon being played by 357, and they are total food. The positioning, even when it's good, it's so easy to punish it anyway with CK, with this tanky Shadow Fiend, and right away you see him trying to go with Bat Rider, driving him back, the Manta style, not even use that, that's just an illusion route. Onto Super they go, Laguna Blade, and the Requiem, QQQ, one more auto attack, Yamate forgets about him, and the disconnect for Burning. I think QQQ may die anyway to this Mantle style move speed. QQQ, a bit clunky, a bit slow. This should be at least one more kill, and maybe RFTK as well, and that's going to be Rex most likely. Almost impossible to defend at this point.
Yamata has that long range raise. He may go for both ROTK as well as QQQ. Invoker has a tornado. I mean, so I don't think Yamata can get both kills. The BKB still with a couple seconds. I think they just go for Rax. So, I mean, they're in such a decisive position. There's no reason to sort of dive that far for kills when they can get the set of Raxes, back off, regroup, or maybe even look for kills after they get the Raxes. But the Rax is the big thing here. 20 minutes in, 12 kills to 4, and in a very, very decisive lead here. 15k gold lead. I mean, this is... I mean, you mentioned you want to see DK in action here, and how they could potentially be a top team, a team who can compete with the best, but so far, it's not showing here. It just hasn't really come together.
I really feel it goes back to what we talked about in the draft. Just picking up Tiny Wisp as your 1-2 pick, that gives Orange 4 picks to figure, and a couple of bans to figure out how to deal with you, and it really left them wide open. I feel like they could have gotten that later, even as, maybe just picking up one of those heroes and not the other. Wisp combos well with others, but in they go onto Mushi as the unpause comes out. Sprout up on Burning. Mushi gonna live. Has the wad, might even turn it around, but they do. Bat Rider will drop in the midst of this. Yamate just killing everyone. Absolutely out of control. Disgusting damage. Burning is next. ROTK goes on to Yamate. Buyback City for DK, but will it even matter? They can't bring down the Shadow Fiend.
He's got Aegis still.
Oh no. Oh no. Get the hell out of there. Even if you kill him, he's a time bomb. He'll murder you. Bernie wants to fight this, but this could be a mistake. They may die to that Requiem when he explodes. Bernie dropping low. Yamate thrown around like a rag doll, just tossed left, right, and center. Mushi to eating that Death Fate Blast. How far do they chase this? Do they chase? I think this might be an overextension. Light Strike around 2. The orbs bouncing through. They want to bring down Mushi, and Yamate leaves the fight, so in the end, they get the CK, but the damage is done. The rack secured. And now the Prophet maybe going to get another kill to this. Looks like they should.
Yeah. Ice overstaying his welcome a little bit there. He didn't get the message from the Tiny when Tiny kicked the Shadow Fiend out of the base. But Shadow Fiend, I thought Yamata was just going to man up and go back in. His BKB just came off cooldown, but he decided to just TP to the top lane, get some more farm. And Orange, they're now getting picked off one by one here. a huge issue for them. Actually, well, he does go down, almost survived that on red HP. It's not a huge issue for them, but it's still some kills, sometime DK getting to farm, get some more kills, get some more gold.
Does Prophet have buyback? No, he doesn't, or you know he'd be using it. Now RTK get the Tranquil Boots up and blink away. I loved how while that was all happening, these Prophet Treants were actually blocking in 2 heroes trapped back behind these trees, over right, sort of to the right once you cross the river on the dire side. Pretty funny stuff, but like you said, I mean, getting some nice kills. The one thing that really does for them is it keeps them in the game experience-wise, and Burning somehow is an Aghanims! Incredible that he's managed to pick this up. It is a naked Aghanims, more or less. He hasn't gone for the drums, he hasn't gone for the Yasha first, or the Manta. It's just straight into the Ag, so I still feel can be kited, can be locked down, but it's an early Ags. You can't underestimate this. If they start getting kills, they can knock down towers quickly.
Yeah, that's what they need to do. I mean, they've just got that 1 T1 tower, but if they win another fight, or at least take out 2 or 3 heroes, I don't see them killing Shadow Fiend too easily. I mean, he hasn't got the Aegis any longer, but, I mean, like you say, win a small fire, or at least a small clash, take down some towers, and it's going to be top lane. Wiz Tiny in a lot of trouble here. They're going to find themselves surrounded by 4 heroes. Yamate even pops the ultimate. Wiz gets him out. The get out jail free card is that Wisp ultimate. Wisp is going to be going back there. Well, X is... Now
can Burning toss him right as he's about to relocate? I wonder, does that prevent you from being pulled back? Either way, we're not going to find out because, well, he goes back and he dies. But they do find a kill on ice, caught away from his team. So honestly, trading the supports, DK's got to be fine with that at this point.
I love how the other DK heroes look for that opening while all those heroes were waiting around just for a Wisp. And the problem is now it's still going to be a push coming in. Yamata's got his BKB up still, and this is going to be very hard to defend, even with having picked off 1 hero already.
Well, the illusions at least get brought down, but like you said, oh, there's the tornado and the EMP, catching them out and removing all of Yamate's mana pretty much. He's only got a couple of raises, needs to make sure he keeps at least enough to use a raise or 2 in these fights. He's doing a lot of physical damage, but you can't underestimate the raise damage, especially that Requiem damage when it's available. A minute to go before it cools down, and it looks like Orange is going to sit around and sort of wait until that next Roshan to really commit, which I think it's a wise choice. We've seen if they start getting caught off, DK can chase them down quite easily, and giving away those kills is really going to put DK back into this game.
Orange love their Roshan. It's one of those. I mean, they play fairly slow pace. They love to be sort of, it's like an aggressive slow paced game. They love to sort of push their opponents back into their base by controlling the map, not letting them leave their base, out farm their opponent, take Roshan wherever possible. When they get the Aegis, they'll go for that push. But when they don't have Aegis, they won't force anything they don't have to. They may wait for it to come back, but at this point with their lead, they don't even have to wait. So it looks like they are just going to at least send in the CK illusions. So they're confident enough. Send in some CK illusions. Send in the Mantra illusions of Yamata. Actually, Mantra illusion. Just chip away at this tower here and try and just breach the DK defense, which they're doing a great job of so far.
They force off the BKB. He's still got the DD rune, but you know maybe they're going to wait for that BKB to cool down to go high ground. It's a little bit risky to fight without it. As much damage as the Shadow Fiend does, they have a lot of chain stun. They are really far ahead. You'd expect him to win. And one thing that should be pointed out is he does have lifesteal now. So if they don't focus him down immediately, if they don't chain stun him, he'll heal right back to full health. And then they go into QQQ. Reality rip back in. And the Laguna Blade. Insta-kill for that one. And now Mushi taking some Tornado on 2. EMP as well. Yamate forced back. And they relocate. They go in onto Mushi, wanting to bring him down, but they're not focusing Yamate. This could be a problem. Burning, disrupted, taking a lot of damage. Super still alive, barely living, but the urn might just be enough to bring him down. Ice also pulled into this fight, not where he wants to be. Everyone's dropping low, and the Rex, I think DK Burning actually went for a deny there.
It looked like it was going down regardless. If they can get a kill out of this as well, I mean, deny a little bit of gold, why the hell not? Mushi needs to do some armlet toggling. He succeeds in doing so. Does still go down. Whisk gets the kill for that one, and now they're chasing. They're looking for those more pickoffs. Every time Orange seem to stay a bit too long, they find themselves getting picked off one by one. This time they do a better job of it. Their support's TPing out. Lean and Nature's Prophet get the hell out of there, and Shadow Fiend still has not gone down, still has not died. He's up to 4k gold. I guess maybe start building his Butterfly. He doesn't need to finish his Satanic just yet. The lifesteal on its own is just so powerful. I think this is going to be something like a Butterfly, going to be coming up very soon for Yamata.
And that really negates the Tiny's effectiveness. You know, he doesn't attack very quickly, so if you ever dodge an attack or two, I mean, he's pretty much not hurting you at all. And with the new Butterfly, with the changes it had a couple of patches ago, gives you 35% evasion plus 60 damage, 60 attack speed. Just an absolutely insane item. So, or excuse me, is it 60? I think it is. 30 agility, 30 attack speed. So yeah, 60 damage and 60 attack speed. Could even go for an Ethereal Blade if he wanted, but I mean, I feel the Butterfly, once you've Manta, just gonna be the better choice.
Yeah, and Orange really trying to get complete other map control. They've got the gem up on Extinct now. Extinct with a Blink, Arcane, and gem on himself. I mean, this is something. I mean, you focus on the Shadow Fiend's farm, even Mushi with the armored up now with quite a bit of farm on himself. But the supports for Orange, especially Extinct playing that sort of soft support, the secondary support, he's got 2k gold as well as the Blink and Arcane. So he's just got a huge amount of farm. Even the Shadow Demon has managed to get up and earn some boots and just get up some small, cheapish items here to help out his team. And from this just gives Orange such an easier time in these team fights compared to the supports on the DK side, which is mostly just boots with a magic wand.
I want to point out that Yamate is worth almost as much as the four bottom farmers on DK. It's only Burning who's even half of his net worth. Slightly less than the four combined, but very close at that. RTK trying to slow down this push, and at this point, Orange just trying to go for sort of a slow siege. Burning, actually, Wisp will leave him. So he's going to have to use a TP scroll to join this fight. Cannot relocate into it. And I think they're a little bit worried about Wisp having to go back at the end of the fight and then being stuck in what could be a 4v5. So we'll see how this works out, but it's not looking good for DK. Down 2 lanes of Rax, and Orange threatening for a third. With the Aegis online, I mean, just everything going their way right now, and Yamate disgusting at this point.
Yeah, I mean, they're being forced to defend. Burning's trying to go for a camp push at top, but he's just not going to have the time to do so. BKB, Yamate just pops it preemptively, knows that he can force them back. They can go for the Rax if they want. He gets a kill on the Jakiro, tries to pop the ultimate, decides against it, and here comes Burning from behind. He's been TP'd in by the Wisp. He needs to start getting some kills, but it's just not enough. Huge Requiem of Souls tears apart Tiny, and with that, Burning buys back, but the damage has been done. They may hold here, but it's just a very costly hold. They need some kills, DK, if they want to stay in this game. They're going to try get some at the bottom lane. Defensive disruption may actually work against Mushi here, and in goes Burning. Mushi going to get torn to pieces. They want more. They need more, though, I feel.
Middle lane, Yamate just sieging away. It's going to bring down that tower, and Batrider trying to find an opening, but without the lasso, RTK cannot do too much. Now the tier 3 exposed, or the Rax exposes the tier 3 falls, and Orange just on the cusp of taking this game 1. Really, let's be honest about it. DK are going to have to pull out a miracle to turn this around. A great team, certainly a team that's capable of that kind of a comeback, but Orange playing this one perfectly. And in they go. They want to try and catch out Ice, but Yamate drives 4 or 5 heroes back pretty much by himself. He had a little support, but just the BKB being popped, and they got to run. It was a BKB charge. Already he's down to 5. It feels like he just picked this item up. In fact, he's probably had it for 10-15 minutes, but nonetheless, 5-second BKB, so will be a little bit easier to deal with in that sense. Then again, he's got the Butterfly, so in that sense, even harder to deal with.
Yeah, this is, I mean, it's getting harder and harder. The Shadow Fiend Yamate getting up to 20k net worth, more than double anyone else in the game. Tiny sitting on second is under 10k net worth, as Yamata is just getting completely out of control. His GPM up near the 700 mark. I mean, the numbers, the items, the levels, it just all speaks for itself. Yamata has controlled this game from that mid lane, and the DK draft didn't have anything to gank him or put pressure on him with, and not to mention their other lanes, their passive lanes just weren't winning. They weren't doing the job for him, and DK now, on their last breath, on their last legs, they're trying to do anything, take the fight to Orange, but with Batrider already picks off, it's just going to be too hard to defend this Rax.
Oh, Mushi pulls in Super, who is able to force step away. It doesn't matter though, Yamate going to work, doing the damage, back towards Super, he turns. The BKB expires quickly, and finally DK, they know when they're beaten. They're going to call the GG here in game 1, which, you know, it's the new DK roster, but I think for me it was less about their individual play or the individual competitors on this team. It was more like we talked about, going back to the draft, picking up Wisp Tiny as your 1-2 picks, especially against a hero who's as versatile as Prophet, really leaves you open to the aggressive tri-lane. It leaves you open, wide open to lots of heroes that can just dominate those solo lanes. They know that they don't have to worry about supports roaming off that lane, so you can get away with a Shadow Fiend mid. And Orange just punishing that heavily. So we head into game 2 with Orange, perhaps a slight underdog in this series. Not by a lot. These two teams are pretty evenly matched, even coming into this from the International 2. But it's Orange who take game 1.
Yeah, I mean, Orange, I mean, they've got to be looking like one of the potential dark horses in this room. I don't know if dark horse is the right word. People knew they were good. It just was a question of can they actually compete with teams like IG, LGD, even DK. DK, of course, with the recent roster reshuffle, some people thought they may need some time to adjust. And I think the one thing which was just their downfall there was the strategy. The drafting and the lane setup was just couldn't match up to what Orange had. Orange, I mean, have the players who, if they have the better strategy, they will punish you for it, and that's exactly what went down there. DK are going to have to come up with something a bit different with their draft this game too.
Yeah, I think we're just going to see them do something where it's not tipping their hand off the bat. It's actually, DK almost never does that. And really most pro teams do, but especially a team like DK. I mean, how often have we seen them start with, picks like Tidehunter or Windrunner, just, these very versatile heroes that can go into any lane, can play support, can play solo, and it doesn't really tip your hand. It doesn't reveal your cards or tell the other team what you're going to do off the bat. So I think we'll see that in game 2. But that wraps it up for game 1. You're watching the G1 League Group